mentioned the photon earlier. Do you think physics is taking a wrong turn by looking for exchange particles when you're talking about the strong force or gravity there? Not clear on why you're skeptical about the gravity.
About the graviton?
Yeah, every other force seems to have an exchange particle connected with it.
No, not necessarily. I mean, they make it have one, but you know, as time goes on, that really hasn't held true. And you know, the bottom line is they don't. Well, first of all, they don't even believe there's a graviton anymore, so I'm not the only one. As far as exchange particles, you know, still, though some of them, like the zeta particle, maybe that's an actual thing. But you know, when they're looking at transfers of energy, I think these are scapegoats, you know, for the most part. And you know, a lot of the experiments that I was doing in Los Alamos essentially was along these same lines. But you know, other exchange particles like the intermediate vector boson, you know, I don't believe that thing exists. I really don't. I think they're grabbing at straws and just coming up with excuses.
Did you use or see any kind of drawing, mechanical drawing or electrical schematics?
Oh, sure.
Any kind of documentation, special which we don't know?
Of what we knew of the amplifier and engineering layouts and things along those lines, and I've duplicated those at home.
Between solid travel characteristics and Earth's gravity well and zero gravity.
Is there a difference in?
I mean, the ability for monkeys, how is it affected by zero gravity?
Well, zero gravity is ideally what it wants. I don't think it wants in any other interactive gravity field.
But it would be much harder to control though.
No, not really.
But as far as you know, there's never been any tests.
No tests out of the atmosphere, you know, as of 1989 when I left.
Since it is controlling gravity, would it be possible that these things could either make themselves entirely invisible or a field of invisibility by bending the light around the outside of the ship?
Yeah, that's a byproduct of what's going on, because, you know, just as you know, any large source of gravity bends light, and you get an intense focus source like that, and it's going to really distort it.
I understand correctly that you just said that you duplicated the gravity amplifiers?
Some of the equipment and most of the drawings. Yeah.
And when you say duplicate, you mean test it to see if it works?
No, I'm not tested it because I don't have the facilities to do that. But like I mentioned to someone else earlier, that this summer I'll be patenting those drawings and that device itself. So should anyone decide that all of a sudden they discovered it, and since they've made no claim to it, I'll have the patent.
Wait a minute, you don't know about this.
Great.
Come on. You know, that's really part of the Federation, the Intergalactic Patent Treaty. Don't you know about that?
No, I didn't sign that, so it doesn't
That's
count.
right. I'll try some ice water.
Yeah. Would you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's talk about the gravity amplifiers. How do you build a gravity wave detector? Let's say you can determine the frequency and the source direction of a gravity wave emanating from the planet and other source.
Well, actually, a gravity wave detector is a tough thing to make, and they are being made, and I don't exactly follow what they're doing, but I know the basis of what it is. It's a giant drum. It's 20 or 30 feet long, and it's filled with dry cleaning fluid with carbon tetrachloride in there, and it rotates. And I never paid much attention to it. I have no idea how that detects a gravity wave, but I think Caltech has even funded one of them.
Well, I mean the gravity waves that you're talking about.
Well, gravity waves are gravity waves.
What about the small gravity wave, gravity A? How do you detect that? What is the frequency of that?
The frequency that the actual reactor operates at is like 7.46 hertz. It's a very low frequency.
That's the frequency of Earth's gravity or universally all gravity?
That's the frequency that the reactor operates at.
Did you use any computer process in the control process? Or?
In the control process? No, I wasn't affiliated with that.
But why would you suppose that the government would continue to spend these massive billions of dollars on space projects that are extended, 20 years into the future, when it knows it has this technology that would make them all obsolete tomorrow?
Repeat the question.
He wants to know why the government would continue to spend millions and billions, I guess, of dollars on space projects when, you know, they have this technology. And well, first of all, you're assuming that, you know, the whole one of the government knows what's going on, and that's probably not the case. NASA probably isn't aware of what's going on here. Second of all, just because they have this stuff, they haven't, you know, they haven't left the Earth with it, and they won't. So we still want to send things up in orbit, and that's the most efficient way we have of doing it, is essentially building a big firework to go up there.
But if they spent the same money in developing this technology, or half of it, they'd probably be able to.
Not necessarily. You know, sometimes all the money in the world doesn't get you anywhere. You know, though it helps. And of course, if you want to keep something secret, you know, that's out of the question. But, you know, putting that aside, just dumping, you know, billions and billions of dollars into it, sure, you're going to make big strides and you get, you know, real reasonable people to work on the thing, but you're still going to get stuck, you know, around the area of where you don't have the proper materials or, you know, the techniques required, you know, to manufacture these things, and that's where you'll get stuck.
If your patents, or when your patents get approved, what do you plan on doing at that point?
Nothing. Just
Nothing?
paying the yearly fee to them and leave them alone.
Comment on your debriefing a little further. What happened?
They really didn't go into much. It was, they wanted to know, you know, what we were doing out there, and they went into, well, you know, we reviewed this was secret. When we said it was secret, you know, we didn't mean bring your friends here and, you know, things along those lines. They had flown in 2 of the guards that were on that truck that were watching us. And it was my impression that they didn't know what was behind the mountain, what we were watching. They were just told to guard what was going on. I made it a point of bringing up the you know, flying saucers and things of that sort, and that's when they threatened me. That's when they mentioned the thing about my wife. The way the reactor's operating, that you know, the pulses that we detected out of it were probably, you know, instead of a straight DC power supply, it was a lot more along the lines of a pulse, as if you know, we were getting bursts of particles coming out. An antimatter emission and a reaction, a pulse of energy, and that would repeat. That's around, you know, 7.5 hertz, something along those lines.
Bob, the microwave frequency going to the waveguide is electromagnetic. That's gravitational.
Well, they're one and the same.
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, I mean, gravity is, unfortunately, since physics hasn't, you know, gotten to that part yet, but gravity essentially is part of the electromagnetic spectrum.
What frequency is it? You know?
That's something I'm reserving for myself.
Something about the microwave range.
It's something about the microwave range. Well, you know, you can kind of sort of figure it out by the dimensions of the waveguide itself, and you know, that's about it.
Positive energy is regular photon? Photon.
No, it's not photon.
Okay, but it has a similar electromagnetic
Right.
fields. Oscillating, vibrating.
I'm not trying to be secret, but this is part of the equipment that I'm working on, and you know, I want to get it operating before.
Well, we'll find out one day.
Absolutely.
Good.
Did you ever get any idea through any documentation or anything that this kind of alien technology is being researched or tested at any other planets?
No.
Bob, this information at S4 about gravity, propulsion, and so on, control, wave control, what does that do to endeavors like Kip Thorne at Caltech with his LIGO wanting to spend tens of millions or multiplied millions on this light interferometry gravity observatory? I mean, doesn't it rather mothball that?
It does, and that's just another reason for people not to, you know, look at this from a realistic point of view, because it really will shoot down a lot of research effort like that.
Exactly.
You know, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. It's research like that should go on anyway, if for nothing else, just to prove that it doesn't work. You know, it's.
Can I ask a follow-up? I'm sorry. Can you speculate as to how you think they found us, or why they came to us?
You can speculate as well as I can. I really can't.
I mean, would anything in their technology seem to imply that they can
just
sense life anywhere else, or it doesn't seem like just randomly flying around the block, around the galaxy?
No, but if the documentation was correct about genetic manipulation, they didn't have to find us.
They put us here.
Forgot about that.
They didn't just happen to snoop around Roswell one day, right?
Probably not.
You ever hear anyone allude to the fact that maybe the Russians might have their own area escort?
I know George Knapp just got back from Russia, and I spoke with him recently, and he purchased, since apparently the whole country's up for sale, I guess he purchased from the KGB and the Russian government all information pertaining to flying saucers, so he's got that information. And, yeah, I think his company, Altamira Corporation, that financed the whole trip and the whole 9 yards, I guess will be releasing that, but he's got all that stuff. Just a couple more, I'm really beat.
Always worries me to come up here because of the atomic blast that were upwind of us in Plutonium Valley, probably 40 miles away. Whatever happened to the plutonium in the U-238 that's been dispersed here and around this area, the fallout that went up to Cedar City? How much, according to that EPA monitor a quarter of a mile away, we're about 4 times the background dose that we've been getting in Los Angeles.
Plutonium? Because when an atomic bomb or thermonuclear bomb detonates, really most of the plutonium, though it doesn't all go into fusion or fission for that matter, into fission, hydrogen goes into fusion, is really consumed in the fireball. And the other fallout products, the radioactive iodine, the strontium-90 and things like that, those are all over the place and they're still around. But time has gone by, though most of them haven't even reached their half-life yet, but they are diluted in a large amount of space, and it's relatively safe. The concentrations aren't that high.
So if we went down to Groom Lake Road and got chased out by the guards, and all the dust that got in the automobile...
Oh, that's no problem. You die of something else way before that.
So, Bob, the Cash Landrum saucer that gave off this tremendous radioactive radiation and causing these ladies irreparable harm, how does that fit? That's obviously not element 115 gravity wave propulsion.
No, it's not. I think that was... I'm not even convinced that was a alien craft. That might have been a government attempt at a nuclear-powered craft, incredibly dirty, obviously, that, and they, just looking at some of the, medical photographs, the burns and, the loss of hair, it was either gamma or a neutron radiation, and I don't know what the status is.
Well, that brings up another question. Our friend Jeff, who actually saw the saucer up close, it shot out at him right at mailbox. He saw it up close. We showed that earlier, by the way. Anyway, he said that he got a sort of a sunburn, probably from UV. Is it possible these craft give off
Well,
UV?
beta burn is also, looks like sunburn,
yeah.
Beta particles, electrons. It looks exactly like sunburn.
So this would be the radiation from the craft and the excess...
Yeah, but, if you just were going for a blood cell test, a high white cell count will, verify that it was radiation exposure, because you get that, reflex operation.
Bob, I know it isn't your first choice to make public appearances like this, so I just want to tell you, in case nobody else states it clearly enough, that we, all of us, really appreciate you coming out here and speaking.
I'm kind of beat, so I'll just turn it back over to Gary here and sit in the bar or something along those lines. Thank you.